If you want to hear about church corruption, come along. This is part 37 of me sharing my story online because it's so much easier than writing another book. So it's like early 2013 and I've been running this nonprofit and we finally think we find a home church, someone that can handle the intensity of talking about like SA and racism and all the details of trafficking. And there's this big church in Portland, Oregon. It's called City Bible Church. It may have gone through a rebrand. And so I find this pastor or he finds me and he's like, we can totally handle this. Like, it's right up our alley. He's super alternative, very, very charismatic. And we called him Master Park and he thought that was really funny, switching his name around, Pastor. Yeah. So he's like, yes, I can help you with everything. And he starts pulling me into these meetings and there's like big funding. And he's like, you work with us and we're going to take care of everything. We go over to his family's house and like they have this huge house in Portland and they're like super bougie and like he's running this huge church. And it's everything that a pastor shouldn't be. But I'm like, okay, he's really going to help and he's going to push support our way. And that seems like a great opportunity, especially because he's edgy enough that like they can probably handle it. Well, that was right up until the fight for gay marriage started in Oregon. It was 2013 and they got super political. And I was just like, how do you even bring survivors into this? Like, that's not okay. Like, how much D can you have and like still be okay with more D? Like, it's really a fucked up situation when you're talking about trafficking. Like, we shouldn't even have this fight. Humans are humans. But I'm still learning that myself. Like, I'm still wrestling with, is it a sin? Like, what do we do? And yet, as I'm saying, like, this is understandable why people would want to be gay. It's really not a sin. Like, it's this huge battle inside of me. And it sounds ridiculous to me now, but at the time it was a big deal. And I was just dismantling so much of what I now know as the patriarchy, but it's this male authority that says, you're right, you're wrong, they're right, and we're supposed to listen to them. And the question that really radicalized me was, what makes your Holy Spirit better than my Holy Spirit? Like, if we're all like anointed and have the Holy Spirit, then why is yours better than mine? Like, I feel like gay marriage is just fine. I don't feel like we can hold being gay against anyone. It doesn't seem correct. Why are we using this book as that is just men's word? Like, how do we know that Constantine and his group of homies, like, just didn't really hate women? And Constantine maybe was abused by his father and that's why he doesn't like gayness. Like, we all speak from the conditioning of our experiences. Like, how did we end up with the Bible as it is? And this was a journey that I had been on for many years at this point, but it was really just coming to a head and my voice is becoming more clear, but it's shaky because I'm like, how do we do this? And yet when you're on a platform and you're front facing, it just adds to the complexity because behind the scenes at these churches, like, it is all performance based. You have to perform and do what they say to do in order to get the funding. And it was at this church that I ended up doing my last big speaking engagement. I was speaking to a group of middle schoolers. There was about 700 kids there, and I fucking nailed it. And there was not a dry eye in the room. The altar call, all the kids were there. And by the time I walked off that stage, I was like, I am never, ever doing this again. And I went home and I spent a couple days writing a 4-point resignation letter because I was like, this isn't okay. The leadership isn't okay. None of the funding came through. I asked for financial help once as being an active part of the church. And they ended up putting me in a warehouse stuffing envelopes. And it was like $75 for like 6 to 7 hours of work. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, I'm doing so much as a part of the church and you're not paying me. We're like, how does this work? It doesn't. And that is, in fact, the entire problem. So at the same time, the church thing is crumbling. The contract and everything that I have going in Connecticut is crumbling. All of our funding for my nonprofit is crumbling because I'm speaking out. And I'm having this dark night of the soul where I'm like, the church is fucking bullshit. Like, why are they treating people this way? And the organization out of Connecticut put me in touch with this other survivor who was doing a big awareness campaign. And she had connections to a lot of celebrities. She was a big hooey dooey person down in LA. Like, she had lots of really good connections. And so her and I start to come together. And then I get this awesome freaking brand deal where I get like $30,000 worth of medical care for like a 5-minute testimonial deal. Like, it was a really good deal. And so I am feeling better, and her and I have this thing going, and we decide as kind of like a Hail Mary with my nonprofit, because I have survivors that are like relying on the nonprofit funds in order to stay away from their traffickers. And like, that's a lot of pressure to have on you when you're trying to fundraise. Is like, how do I keep them from going back just by paying their bills? And I had also had another survivor, because I'm working with lots of survivors, because I became well known in the anti-trafficking community for working with like the worst of the worst cases, which is really just people that have experienced so much trauma that they're not functioning. And because I was not functioning at one point, I knew how to kind of help people and listen and build that relationship. And so while I had done all these placements, I had one survivor that had piloted my program, and she was like the case study. One survivor isn't enough, but it was enough to get me that deal with Connecticut, that they were like, yeah, your program works. It makes sense financially. Let's do it. And so I have this one survivor who had been in the program that I had created for about a year, and she was becoming much more independent. And we're like, we need to leave. Like, we're leaving Portland because we're clearly being exiled. And that letter that that I sent to the pastor of CBC, he actually turned it into a 4-point sermon series on divisive leadership and taught it to 100,000 people. And so I'm like being exiled. Everybody knew it was me, even though we didn't use names. And I'm like, I've got to do something to save our funding. Like, what on earth are we going to do? And this other survivor that ran the big campaign, she was like, let's go to LA because we can get funding down there and it'll all work out. And I was like, bet, let's do it. And so we went to LA, and I met a bunch of bougie people and did a bunch of bougie things. And we put together a new board and really merged my nonprofit and her organization into one, and made the plans to move our like home office to LA so we could get better funding. And I'm just like, okay, let's go, let's do this. And we integrate her team with my team, and we were a powerhouse team because we had like so many things together, and it was quite an ordeal because we also had to pack up my entire house, 5 kids, plus the survivor was coming with us, plus my partner's also a survivor. And so we're super excited, we're rolling hard, and we end up doing a yard sale, like selling the last of our stuff so we can put it in a little trailer. One of the people on her team, who was an awesome individual and turned into one of my best friends, he like gave us a Suburban, and we are like, okay, we're road tripping to California, we're doing it. And so Reed and I, with our 5 kids, plus the survivor who is like our daughter, and so she's child, adult, human number 6. So there's 8 of us rolling down to California, and this was the beginning of the end, and we'll get to that next.